Because today, we're not just looking at the playbook, we're, dissecting it. We're taking a deep dive into the role of a data products analyst at U2 Ad.
Hi everyone, this is Tommaso here, your favorite recruiter, and today I'm going to talk about something incredibly important if you're preparing for an interview, which is using AI to have a masterclass interview preparation that is going to help you for sure to land your next job.
So this is a full session with theory and practice, wherever I'm going to show you how to prepare for an interview with ChatGPT. And I'm going to show you the step-by-step process that you need to take from inception and thinking about what to do to actually preparing for the interview with a bonus episode podcast that you can create to prepare for the interview. Let's dive into it. So the first step is actually setting up the interview on ChatGPT, which means having a chat that is just dedicated to that, where you're going to put the job description, you're going to put all your CV that is related to the role, and you're going to talk about the role with ChatGPT. You're also going to use it for other things, but we'll explain later. Make sure that the name of the chat is clear, and let's start. So step number 2, upload the job description on the chat, and then ask ChatGPT to identify the key skills and responsibilities, what's the required experience level, company values, and anything else that you think could be related for ChatGPT to understand more about the job you are applying for. Then the key for this is the deep dive search, which is something you have if you have ChatGPT Plus. Without ChatGPT Plus, you can create a bit smaller chunks of text, which is also good, but it's not as good as the deep dive on ChatGPT. And then we're gonna dive deeper into how to practically ask questions, and we're gonna show that in the actual practical video that I showed you later. But you can ask any questions you want, really, based on what you like to get out of it. Then the step number 4 is actually uploading your CV to the chat so that they will understand which is your profile that you're going to use for the application. You can ask any questions that can help you understand how your skills are related to the job. You can tell them, why am I relevant for this job? You can say, why am I not relevant for the job? And then you can understand based on the chat with ChatGPT how you compare with the job and what you need to prepare. You can take a freestyle approach to the chat as well, but I'm going to show you how to take an approach that I think is beneficial to get the most out of it. What you can do as well is do a mock interview, which is basically asking ChatGPT to ask some questions that are likely to come up in the interview, in the first interview you're gonna do. You can ask ChatGPT already to answer on your behalf based on the CV you have, but probably you're going to come up with a lot of other examples of stuff you've done in a previous job that are not on the CV. So when you do that, I suggest you to complete the answer that ChatGPT gave by adding other examples so that ChatGPT understands your experience much better than just what's on your CV. Obviously, you can ask to prepare some questions for the interviewer, but that's something we can do later. Let's say you've done a lot of questions and answers that are likely to come up in an interview. So the next stage is to refine it over and over and over. So you can refine the answers by adding your projects and adding your examples. You can read the answers, check if they're correct, ask if there is a better way to answer that questions, and basically just try to understand how to get the most out of it. Remember the STAR method technique, focus on clarity, use examples throughout the whole process. And then the final step, actually, after you've done the chat, you've done the mock interview, you uploaded the job description, your CV, and you asked the deep search to provide any relevant context about the company, the job description, and how you position yourself with that. The bonus tip that I can give you is to use the fantastic Notebook LM from Google, which is an incredible tool to create a podcast. So imagine, you don't have much time to prepare. So you prepared like that on ChatGPT, but you need to obviously go on the websites and understand a lot more about people you are going to interview with, etc. So let's imagine you don't have a lot of time. Having a podcast, something that is, let's say, 30 minutes to an hour and a half long, based on how you like it to be detailed, is invaluable because let's imagine you go to work on your commute. You can listen to it whilst you do any other things, whilst you're at the gym, etc. So imagine you have an audio podcast, which is super engaging. I'm going to show you later that is going to help you to understand everything all the time. So let's imagine you don't have a lot of time and you're doing other stuff in the meantime, listening to the podcast where they're going to understand the job description, the company, and explain that to you. If you listen to it 2-3 times, you are more likely to come up prepared because you understand everything and you got that repeated in your over and over. So this is something fantastic, which I'm gonna show you how to do later. And then finally, some crucial things that I wouldn't forget. STAR method technique, we talked about it a lot of times. Situation, task, action, result. Make sure that you follow this structure when you're interviewing and when you give answers, because it's super clear. Related to the deep search, it's okay using that on ChatGPT, but use your own deep search, what you've done before using AI, which is checking LinkedIn profiles, company career pages. Let's say you are a product analyst at Google, which is the example we're going to show later. Go on Google, understand actually what the job entails and understand the web pages are already there so that you can get a lot of information based on what's already on the product. And then finally, you've done a lot of preparation with this technique. You will be incredibly prepared, even more than a lot of other people. So make sure that you have some time before doing the interview and try to relax. You are prepared. You're going to know the answers probably to most of the questions, but you're not going to understand what all the questions will be. So rest in peace that everything that you've done will be super useful, but there will be something that will come up that is not going to be something you prepared on. So make sure you're always also prepared for the unexpected questions and relax. The interview is going to go great. And now let's see the real example, which I'm super proud of because it's really going to help you during your interview. Let's see how is that in practice. So open a chat and then write a prompt that helps the chat understand that you're going to talk about interview preparation. Then upload the job description, just copy and paste it if you don't have a document. And then write a prompt that will help the chat understand that you actually need to prepare in an incredibly detailed way. You can follow this one that I've written here. And what's important here is that you click on deep search, which is the most important thing. The deep search allows you to create a document which is incredibly long, and you can make it as long as you want. Let's say the first document will be 4 pages of Microsoft Word, and you want to make it more detailed. Do another deep search on top, read the first document, understand what's missing, and then do another deep search on top of that to come up with other information. For example, on the deep search here, it's going to ask you some follow-up questions that are really important to explain what you actually like to do. And then the great thing here is that ChatGPT is collating all the information that they need. As you can see, there are a lot of sources in the document, so you can see each source and you can see what they are doing, but actually you don't need to stay here. You can just log off and do something else. And then here we are. Look how much content is there. It's talking about a company, it's talking about the team, it's talking about your CV, it's talking about the interview structure. There are also some sources that tell you a lot of things that you would spend hours and hours searching if you don't have AI. So that's incredible. You can see also the criteria of evaluation that Google has and all the sources at the end of it. Then after this is done, upload your CV so that they can check your experience and how it's related to that. As you can see, there are a lot of information on why your profile is a good match. And also they come up with some Q&As. Obviously I uploaded a fake CV. I don't know what Nimbly is, but I say, okay, it's a product that is for e-learning so that they understand how matching with the job. And then, I'm gonna create some Q&A that are realistic. As you can see here, I'm writing other things that ChatGPT needs to know on top of my CV to explain why I'm relevant to the role. And obviously they're gonna remember and they're going to create a lot of information for you to do the next step, which is the podcast. Obviously you can ask some questions that you can ask the interviewer yourself. And then what you like to do is create a document where you can download everything on this chat to then put on Notebook LM. Now you go Notebook LM, you upload the document, and you ask to create a podcast based on the interviewer or the coach and you, so that there are two people that talk about the interview, and they talk about the job, they talk about the company. Notebook LM from Google adds extra information with their AI to make sure that the content of the document is matched with their experience creating podcasts, so everything is super engaging. Then here's the transcript of the podcast. You can specify who's on the interview, and then you click on generate, and in a few minutes it will create the podcast for you. You've seen this already at the beginning of the video, but how crazy is this? Let's listen to
for
it.
an exam.
So, Coach, let's start by scouting the field. What's the environment actually like at a place like YouTube?
All right, let's break down the playing field.
So it's incredibly engaging because of the fact that this podcast is something that is so good that you can listen to that whenever you want on the tube, on a run, at the gym, every time you want. And it's going to prepare you for the interview in an incredible way that was not possible before. If you have another idea of how to prepare for an interview with AI, just ping it in the comment, because everybody's learning how to use it. But this is already something that other people that I've shown this to, they are amazed. A lot of my friends have started using this already, and they're sharing how good this is. So in the next interview, make sure that you use AI in a proper way to make sure you're prepared as well as possible. We don't like when people use AI to answer to interview questions directly in the interview, because that's like cheating, of course. So you can prepare as much as you want with AI, which is obviously something super, super important, but don't use AI to answer for you during interviews. It's dangerous for you, it's dangerous for other people. And you want to make sure that you do it with your own strengths and with your own skills. So prepare the best way possible, and we'll make other videos for sure. But good luck for your interview preparation. Obviously, follow us on YouTube, and we look forward to getting you in the next video.